Good morning, children. Here we start with the next half of the chapter, Internet Basics. Here, students, we will learn about how web page works. So, web pages, I already told you it is written in HTML, that means hypertext markup language. So, we have to start the web browser and then we have to type the address. The web browser will send the request to the web server. So web servers are the computers whose job is to respond to browser's request for a web page and deliver it to through the internet. So pages hosted on a web server can be displayed to anyone all over the world. Here you can see this is local computer. So here from local computer we will start a web browser and there in address bar we will type the website address. Then using internet the request will be sent to the web server. Web server will be containing HTML languages and there will be a database where the bulk of data related to the website is stored, and PHP, here we will consider PHP as the server-side scripting language which communicate between the HTML and the database. After that, as the request is accepted, the HTML page will be sent as response to the local computer, that means client computer. Now we'll study about the difference between web portal versus website. So web portal is actually the collection of launch web pages of array of web services like email, search engine, weather, gaming, news, etc. So here you know about a search engine, that is google.com. It's very famous and it is actually a web portal. You can see when you will write google.com in the address bar, then the web portal of the Google will open. From there only you can access your email, you can see the search bar, then for the weather forecasting, gaming, news and many other things like Google Drive, Google Groups, Google Images, Google Videos, etc. So all these are shown on web portal. It is normally an entry point or gateway for using offered web services. Okay, so from here you can access different types of web services, generally linked to many other websites that provide these web services. Complete environment for managing and integrating a large number of diverse applications. Here the examples are given: Google, yahoo.com, rediff.com, then MSN, AOL, Bing, etc. So website, you are very much familiar. It is collection of web pages. It is actually designed for a specific purpose. It contains different related web pages. So particularly a website is actually a goal of the organization. It is often the final destination to access and use the provided specific information. A website is generally linked to its own web pages, and sometimes it contains link to other websites also, like you can see that on our website CBSE.nic.in is linked. Caters to or deliver one specific type of application or content as per the goal of the website. And here you can see examples of some websites are given, like edubular.com, cbseacademic.in, ncrt.nic.in, agirschool.co.in, etc. Now web browsers. Web browsers are actually softwares we use to view HTML files on the World Wide Web. HTML files means web pages. So there are actually two types of web browsers. Text-based browsers such as links, where we can see only text of a file on the web. Another one is graphical browsers Here we can see text, graphics, multimedia information. The examples of graphical web browsers are Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Safari, Opera Mini, etc. that we are using in our daily life. You can see various browsers are shown and in which year they were developed. So Lynx, it is a text-based graphical web browser. Here in this web browser we can see only the text of a particular web page. Then Mosaic, NCSA Mosaic was developed. Here the images embedded in text. It was world's first popular browser. After that, in 1994, Netscape Navigator was there. It replaced Mosaic. But nowadays there are many other popular web browsers. You can see Mozilla Firefox, Internet Explorer, then Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, etc. Blogs. Blogs actually is founded by word weblog or a weblog. So here it is only actually online personal journal. It is maintained by an individual. A particular person can have its own web page, can have its own website, and it is known as blog. So on that particular website, the user will be able to, user means the blogger will be able to update the post, and then after that it will be available to read. So it means the viewers can read it, and then after that viewers can post comments on regular basis. So blogger is someone who blogs or writes content for a blog. Blogging is actually act of writing a post for a blog. Advantages of blog and disadvantages. So it enables you to write down your thoughts on anything that interests you. Okay, you can write about anything of your interest. And here the disadvantage is that whatever you publish is available for everyone. So if you write a post in anger, you might regret it later. So here it's very quick and easy to set up. We don't need much technical knowledge. Here the personal blogs may be biased or contain inaccurate information. In advantages, it is easy and quick to update or add new post. In disadvantage, blogs can be time consuming. Finding time to write regular updates can become a chore. People can leave comments on your blog. But here the disadvantage is people may leave rude or inappropriate comments. If you don't read other people's blog, there are literally millions to choose from. But here there are many very dull blogs around you. You may have to look at many before you find some worth reading. URL. URL, its full form is Uniform Resource Locator. It is actually unique identifier. It locates a resource, that means a website on the internet. It is also referred to as a web address. The first part of the URL is protocol, HTTP, FTP, etc. The second part is the domain name, like www.agischool.co.in. The third part is actually a specific page of means path of a file. So here you can see the structure of URL. Here it is shown with example. The first part you can see it is HTTPS, a protocol name. Here this is what is .techtarget.com. There can be any domain here like www.agischool.co.in. And after that, if there is student.aspx, then it will be a path to a particular file. Here you can see the example of different types of protocols. These are protocols: HTTP, FTP, file, news, gopher, mail to, telnet, etc. Its uses are given. HTTP is used for hypertext. FTP is file transfer protocol to transfer the file. Then file is used on local file. News for the news group. News can also allow us to access news articles. Gophers, sending mails, remote login, etc. So the example of the URL is given. With HTTP it is like this. FTP, if we have to download or upload any file, then we will use this. Here this is local file on your computer. If you will open Windows Explorer in your computer, and when you will open any of the file in your computer, you will be able to, or select any of the file on your computer, you will be able to see such path. News, mail to, telnet, etc. Now what are protocols? Protocols are actually the standard set of rules that allow electronic devices to communicate with each other. So the examples are given. FTP is file transfer protocol, a protocol for copying files and from the remote machines. Gopher, it is easy to use file retrieval system based on hierarchical distributed menus. World Wide Web or HTTP, a hypertext hypermedia files, that means multimedia document, a web page created by you. Emails, we can send email using these protocols like SMTP, UUCP, POP, etc. Then Usenet, NNTP. So the main news service and the public discussion forum uses the NTTP protocol. Okay, its full form is Network News Transfer Protocol. Now DNS. So short for domain name system or service or server, an internet service that translates domain names into IP address. Actually students, IP address, I already told you that every computer have its own unique IP address. But we cannot learn IP address of all the computers. And you might have seen it is easy to remember domain names. Like you can remember your school website name or any other website, so that you can easily open that website in the web browser. So here domain names are there to translate the domain name into IP address. So because domain names are alphabetic, they are easier to remember. The internet is based on IP address. Every time you use a domain name, therefore a DNS service must translate the name into the corresponding IP address. Okay, so DNS is a service which convert your domain address to the particular IP address. So for examples, domain name is given, like it is just an example, www.example.com. It might translate to some IP address. Here the dummy IP address is given, that is 198.105.232.4. I already told you these numbers vary from 0 to 255 separated by periods. Now what are domains? Domain names are used to identify one or more IP address. So domain names are used in URLs to identify particular web pages. Example is given. It is http:// so www.pcwebopedia.com. It is domain name. Index.html is a part to a particular page. The domain name is pcwebopedia.com. So every domain name has a suffix that indicates which top level domain, TLD, it belongs to. So here there is list of some top level domains. .com for commercial, .net network, .mil, it's not for US military, for all militaries of different countries. .org organization, .int international organizations, .gov for government websites, .edu educational website, .co, it is a specific company, .tv, etc. These are country abbreviations. CN for China, DE Germany, UK United Kingdoms, NL Netherlands, and so on. For India it will be .in. So here you can see example is given, microsoft.co.in. .in suggested that it is based in India. News groups. News group is actually a discussion about a particular subject consisting of notes written to a central internet site and then redistributed through Usenet. So Usenet is a service, a worldwide network of news discussion groups. So Usenet is using network news transfer protocol. We discussed earlier, it is a type of protocol to access news. Okay, so Usenet uses NNTP to display news groups. HTML, it stands for hypertext markup language. It is used to develop web pages and it is developed by Tim Berners-Lee. So for that, students, we have to open a notepad. This is a structure of HTML program, a basic structure. So this is basic structure. Here it starts with HTML, ends with HTML closing tag. Then there is body tag, you can see the body closing tag. Inside that one heading is written and a paragraph is written. So these are actually tags, and there is angular brackets, less than and greater than symbol displays markups. Okay, and that is why it is known as markup language. Okay, so it is written in HTML. Then we have to save the file with .html extension. Okay, so you can see this notepad file is saved with the name index.htm. So as soon as the file is saved, it will not be a notepad file anymore, it will become a web file. Okay, and its icon will also change, its Chrome icon. So whatever is your default web browser, it will be converted to that particular icon. So when you will open index.html, it will look like this. Okay, here students, I told you, see this file, it is actually it is your local file on your system. Okay, heading is displayed like this in the content area of the web browser. My first paragraph shows the paragraph. So this is a simple web page. Email addresses. An email address, you know very well, it's unique identifier for an email account, and it is used to both send and receive email messages. Every email address has two main parts, username and domain name. And username and domain names are separated by @ symbol. So here you can see the example is given, mail@techterms.com. So mail is username, @ is the separator, and techterms.com is the domain name. HTTP versus HTTPS. When the user sent a request from the web browser, and if the connection is insecure, then the data will be accessed with normal HTTP, that means port 80. If user makes transaction, then there will be a secure connection, that means encrypted connection. A secure HTTPS with the port 443, there will be SSL certificate with the request. So SSL full form is Secure Socket Layer. Sometimes you might have seen in the web browser, when you are simply visiting any website, there is http://. But when you are making transaction or using bank website or something very confidential, at that time the URL, means the protocol, changes to https://. Okay, so that means the connection is encrypted, it is secure, and it is locked also. You can see a lock is there when HTTPS connection is there. Difference between HTTP and HTTPS. Here the transmission and the receiving of the information is there on the internet using HTTP, but here, as you all know, that the secure connection is done by HTTPS over the insecure internet. Okay, network is always insecure, but we have to introduce some rules and regulations, some protocols we have to follow to make the connection secure, so that we can send confidential information over the net. Here it is appropriate when we are sending non-sensitive information, but here the transfer of encrypted information is there. It is used in blogs, entertainment, in articles, etc. But here it is mostly used in financial or other confidential information. So if we are making any transaction, then HTTPS will be the right choice. Here the data transfer is with header from the client. HTTP is there within the SSL, secure socket layer. Sir Timothy John invented this protocol, and Netscape Corporation invented HTTPS. HTTP uses port 80, HTTPS uses port 443. Here there is no SSL certificate. Here the SSL certificate is used for communication. Okay students, only this much for today. So our chapter 1 is over. Thank you.